Welcome to the Torqueconomics weekly automotive update leading up to the 1st of June 2025. Let's dive into our releases and discontinuations monitor. We start with a few BMWs this week. BMW just dropped a new M2 CS based on the G87 generation. The good news is that it gets additional 50 horsepower at 523 compared to 473 in the base M2. It also gets carbon bucket seats, a new ducktail, and weight reduction of 97 pounds or 44 kilos. However, the bad news is that this is now a $100,000 car, which is a 40% markup from the base model's $70,000 price tag. The price is hard to justify, as it shares the same S58 engine unlike the previous generation of the M2 CS, which had an upgrade to the S55 from the M55 in the base model M2. BMW had also unveiled a twin-turbo V8 concept called the Speedtop. Unlike other concepts, 70 examples of these will be produced and sold. The Speedtop joins a similar concept from 2024 called the Skytop, of which 50 were made. Both cars are based on the current generation of the 8 series. However, prices will run more than 500,000 euros. Alpina is a brand which develops BMWs to be more refined and powerful versions of their originals. Alpina's founders, which sold the brand to BMW in 2022, had started up another company called the Bovensiepens. Their first car had just been shown to the public this week, and it is called the Zagato. It is a coupe based on the M4 convertible. Prices are yet to be revealed, but do expect a premium, as each car is said to take 250 hours to complete and is fitted with copious amounts of new leather as per buyers' demands. Moving over to France, whilst the mainstream media pondered about the outdoor smoking ban in the nation this week, Alpine released the A390 SUV. The brand known for their lightweight sports cars has released an EV SUV based on its parent company, Renault's SUVs. Weighing 2.1 tons, it departs from the brand's original vision. Despite this, I do like one thing about the car, and it is that it retains a very driver-focused interior, although I would not be a buyer anytime soon. Fortunately, that was not the only news to come out of Alpine this week, as we also received confirmation of a supercar coming in 2028. The powertrain will be a hybrid V6 with 2 electric motors powering the front 2 wheels, similar to the Honda NSX. This timeline does mean that, by the time this supercar comes out, the beloved A110 will be gone from the lineup, leaving only EVs and hybrids. Shifting over to the US, Ram has posted on its Instagram something is on the horizon, and all signs are alluding to the new TRX Ram truck. If true, the truck will likely feature an iteration of the Hemi V8 and will be one of the first to launch as part of the Ram 25 new models plan proposed in April. Land Rover has updated the Defender model with some cleaner headlights and a new infotainment system. Although what has particularly interested me with this refresh is the new adaptive off-road cruise control function, which sounds quite good for longer trips in the wilderness. Regardless, as always, don't fix what is not broken. And given the great sales numbers for the Defender right now, the update is quite minimal. Lastly, in releases this week, the Italian design house Zagato, not to be confused with the Zagato M4 we mentioned earlier, has released a one-off Alfa Romeo based on the 8C. The project was reportedly commissioned by a wealthy Italian man. Now we move on to the headlines of the week. We start with a quick F1 update. McLaren took home another 1-2 finish in the Spanish Grand Prix. Piastri extends his lead in the driver championship. Verstappen did not have a good week, as he allegedly crashed into Russell deliberately. This resulted in a 10-second penalty, which had put him down to 10th from 4th. The F1 tyre producer Pirelli also did not have a good week this week, as the US just threatened a lawsuit over the company. The company has a technology called CyberTire, which when equipped, aims to communicate information to the car, as well as to other drivers of road conditions. Pirelli, although an Italian company, is 37% owned by a Chinese company, and the US government is worried over sensitive data being transmitted. Moving to Jaguar, the company has struggled to maintain sales after their proposed rebrand to electric cars, although it is partially also caused by their pause in production in preparation for the rebranded company. Regardless of which, Jaguar posted their lowest sales numbers since the company's humble beginnings, of only 49 vehicles in Europe for the month of April, down 97.5% from the same time last year. Perhaps seeing trends from companies like Jaguar, Honda is reducing their EV investment by 30% through to the 2031 fiscal year. This means a reduction in spending of $20 billion, which is to shift predominantly to hybrid vehicles, of which Honda plans to launch 13 new models starting in 2027. Despite the change, Honda is still committed to 100% zero-emission vehicles by 2040. GM followed suit this week with an $888 million investment into a new V8 engine. It had abandoned plans for a $300 million electric vehicle plant for this project. The new V8 engine will be used in both trucks and SUVs. First mass market production is expected in 2027. The EV scale-back comes at a time when a slew of Chinese EV makers fell more than 10% in the week. Price competition is fierce within the EV space. The world's largest EV manufacturer, BYD, announced a policy this week that more than 20 models will get an additional subsidy if customers traded their old vehicles in. The new price of the Seagull, which just launched in Europe for 23,000 euros last week, is just 7,765 USD under the scheme within China. This points towards a larger trend of turmoil within the auto industry. Manufacturers including Stellantis, Volvo, and Nissan had all gotten new CEOs in an attempt to turn things around amidst tariffs and Chinese competition. Many of the legacy car makers are too big to fail, as governments are incentivized to bail out for their employees. Let's do a deep dive into some of the news to come out of Nissan this week, as the company is buried under more financial trouble. Nissan is being sued in the USA for an arrangement which supposedly controlled inventory flow to squeeze out a large franchise dealer group. The arrangement is tied to the ex-CEO Carlos Ghosn. This news comes in the same week that many US employees have been offered buyouts to resign voluntarily. 7 production sites with an expected 20,000 jobs are expected to be cut on a global scale. Nissan is now in panic mode, as it had also sought a $7 billion loan from the UK government to support its Sunderland plant. There are large loan repayments due next year, and it is a make-or-break situation for the company. So much as to Nissan may also look to sell their Yokohama-based headquarters, worth about $700 million by one estimate. Maybe the next GTR might not be on the horizon so soon. Moving on to a couple pieces of headlines related to interiors. Stellantis were forced to drop Amazon as their interior partner after Amazon decided to close down its smart cockpit division. Android Auto is the current frontrunner in the conversation of a successor, although I'd imagine Apple's CarPlay Ultra is not far behind. Toyota is moving towards its in-house operating system for its upcoming vehicles. The operating system underpins the infotainment systems, and this might mean CarPlay Ultra will not be coming to Toyota after all. The new OS is called Arene, and it will provide over-the-air updates for lane keeping and parking, as well as multimedia and entertainment features. In other news, Volvo has slashed a further 3,000 jobs, concentrating in white-collar roles. 15% of office staff are affected by this change, and cost reductions expect to amount to $1.9 billion. Subaru is raising prices across all its models in the US, apart from the Solterra EV, which is a reskinned Toyota BZ. Market conditions and tariff uncertainties were both pointed to as the reason behind the rise. Toyota will move some of the production of its North American sold GR Corollas to the UK from Japan. The move was made to use up excess capacity in the company's UK plants. Specs and prices expect to remain unchanged. 4 former VW managers have been found guilty for Dieselgate, 10 years after the discovery of the scandal. The longest sentence of 4.5 years was handed to VW's former head of diesel engine development. The Dieselgate, as a reminder, was when VW installed software in millions of vehicles to make them appear more environmentally friendly than they actually were. Moving into the "They Just Cannot Make It Right" section, there was one notable recall this week, whereby over 1 million Fords were recalled due to a software glitch which made the rear-view camera unreliable. Popular models including the F-150 and Bronco were all affected. That was all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and please look forward to weekly videos on an ongoing basis. On that bombshell, goodbye.